Okay, this is Yazan, and we're trying to work on exercise 6.1 to construct a stem and leaf diagram using Excel. Okay, first of all, you have to figure out those are the values that we're trying to construct the stem and leaf diagram for. You have to figure out your minimum and maximum value. So you would know the range of values you have. I actually gonna name this those cells data, just make it to make my life easier. And I want the minimum value, so minimum of data, it's 52. And now the max will be max of data, and it's 109. And I am trying to make this as close as to the PowerPoint, which is obviously we can see that our values, the stem part gonna go from 5 to 10, and the leaf would have the values from 0 to 9 according to how many times they are repeated in your values. Okay, so let's try to do this. Start from 5, hold the control key. Oops. Okay, 5 to 10 is fine. I'm going to put the border to the right. Sounds good. Okay, so how am I going to know the values for the leaf? Okay, for the first one, let's assume that we have here like 50, 51, 52, right? Let's assume those are the values. So I should see here 0, because this will represent 5 and 0, 50, and then 1, because that will represent the value of 51, and then 2, for example, and so on. And if there was like 3 or 4 50s in my data, I should see 3 zeros, for example. Okay, let's put the data back. How would I do that? We're gonna use the function repeat and count if. So, why repeat? Because I want to repeat, for example, zeros as many times as I have 50s in my data. And count if, because I want to count how many, for example, 50 there's in my data, or there are in my data, how many 50s, how many 51, 52s, and so on. So, this part will represent the tens part, and this will represent the ones. So let's start it. Equal, repeat, okay, and what is the text? 0, how many times, sorry, 0, how many times, make sure to leave spaces between the quotes and the number. How many times? It's count if you find in my data. What is the range? It's the data. And what's my criteria? What's the condition? If you find 50, so repeat zeros as many times as you find 50 in my data. So I'm going to click on this cell. How would you get 50 from 5? Well, simply just multiply it by 10. Sounds good? Yes. Okay, I missed parentheses. So in my data, there's no 50s. Let's assume this changed, and now I have 50s. See, you will see as many zeros in the leaf side, or as many zeros leaves, as many 50s in your data. Okay, let's go back. So this works for the 0. How am I going to make this work for now 51? To display a 1. Same thing, we copy this, make sure to put and between them. Not a plus and, so it will be printed next to it is a concatenation. Okay, so repeat 1 as many times as you see 51 in my data. So count if data C5 multiplied by 10, how do I get 51? Plus 1. Sounds good? So now repeat zeros as many as 50s in my data and ones as many as 51s in my data. So let's assume that this is 50, 50, 51, 51. Now it's working fine. And we have to do the same now for all the digits from 0 up to 9. So I just want to copy this, okay, paste it here, and change this to 2, and change this to 2. Same 4, 3, and here's time for 3. You can expand this to make your life easier, so you can see all the formula. It's gonna be a long formula, but it's really basic. I mean, we're just repeating the same function almost. So this is for 4. Make sure not to miss anyone and double check your formula. 5, and now 4, 6, and 7, and 8, and now 9, and control enter. Awesome. So in my data there is a 52, only one 52, and a 57. Okay? Now autofill to the rest with just double clicking. Now you get it all. I have 4 62s, a 65, a 66, 67, 268, 368, and 3 69s. It's as simple as that. Okay, so sometimes because the leaves kind of extend to the right too much, so there is the extended stem and leaf. So the extended stem and leaf, the idea is to repeat the stem twice. The first one will hold the value, or represent the value from, for example, 50. The first 5 will represent the data from 50 to 54, and the second one will hold the value from 55 to 59. It's kind of you dividing it into it. So now you just can simply copy this and paste it somewhere else. And over here we just want to add another 5, another 6, another 7, another 8, and another 9, and another 10. Then we need to divide the previous formula between those two. So the first one, I'm gonna just cut it after 4. So I'm gonna cut this and simply paste it down here. Just make sure that there's an equal before it. And the second formula, same thing, I'm gonna just cut it after number 4 and paste it underneath. I don't know what I did. Okay. Equal what am I missing? We found a typo in your formula. Okay, I'm sorry. So this is working fine for me. So this is 62, 62, 62, 62. Then the second row, or the row next to it, starts from 65. So that sounds good. Okay, for 71, okay, I'm gonna cut in the first part. I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, and so on. So cut the first part. Paste it here. And now for the 9, same thing. Oh, missed the equal sign here. Sounds good. Okay, last one, finally. I know this might be a little bit long, but trust me, it's really basic and straightforward. It will save your life. I mean, well, at least it will save you a lot of time. I don't know if you're gonna save your life. Because imagine that the data changes, right? I mean, if I change this, let me finish this first. Okay. So, if I change any value here, right? I mean, this thing will update itself because I'm relying on formulas and relative references. So, doing this by pencil and a paper by your hand will honestly take a lot of time and won't be flexible. Every time your data change, you probably have to make some changes. But this make your life, make things more efficient.